Forget what you think you know about air superiority. Imagine a World War II propeller plane that carries more bombs than a B-17 flying fortress. A machine that shoots down communist jet fighters. A guardian angel that rescued hundreds of downed pilots while the Pentagon burned billions on superior jets that couldn't do the job. This is a story of the A-1 Skyraider, the plane the military tried to kill for a decade. The beast that embarrassed every supersonic jet the Cold War produced. Sound of a deep, rumbling radial engine to a man lying wounded in a ditch in Vietnam. That sound meant one thing. Someone is coming to get you out. The hook, the burning cockpit. September 1st, 1968. 90 miles from home, Lieutenant Colonel William Jones III is trapped inside a cockpit designed before the atomic bomb existed. And right now, it's a furnace. The rocket motor mounted behind his head has just ignited inside the plane. The aircraft is on fire. His ejection system is destroyed. His skin is melting off his hands. Logic says bail out. Fear says scream. Jones does neither. He has second and third degree burns covering his upper body. He is flying a torch, but he will not leave. Why? Because somewhere in the jungle below, there is a downed pilot whose coordinates only he knows. He is going to fly this burning airplane home, or he is going to die trying. The absurdity here is what shouldn't make sense. By 1965, the U.S. Air Force owned the most advanced combat aircraft on the planet. F-4 Phantoms that broke Mach 2. F-105 Thunderchiefs built to deliver nuclear weapons. Billions of dollars in radar, heat-seeking missiles, and afterburners. And yet, field commanders in Vietnam were begging for the Douglas A-1 Skyraider. Designed in 1944, first flew before World War II even ended. It was a tail dragger in an era of tricycle gear. A piston engine relic in the age of the jet. Pilots nicknamed it the Spad, after the wood-end canvas biplanes of World War I, because that's how ridiculous it looked sitting next to a Phantom on a carrier deck. But the Spad had a secret: the jets. Didn't the stats that hurt enough? For Phantom burns fuel so fast it can loiter over a target for maybe 20 minutes. The Skyraider, it orbits for 4 to 6 hours. Sometimes 10, that the F-105 needs a gas tanker just to reach the target. The Skyraider launches, fights for hours, kills everything, and goes home without a sip of fuel. And here's the number that made jet pilots sick to their stomachs: the B-17 flying. For Thusa, massive for engine heavy, bomber typically carried 4,000 to 6,000 pounds of bombs. The single-engine Skyraider, 8,000 pounds. One pilot, one propeller. Carrying more weight than a heavy bomber with a 10-man crew. 15 external hardpoints. For 20mm cannons, spitting 48 rounds a second. Napalm, cluster bombs, white phosphorus. If you could bolt it to the wing, the Spad could carry it. On one occasion, in November 1965, they even bolted a toilet to the wing. A working porcelain commode. With tail fins, dropped on North Vietnam just to send a message. It whistled all the way down. But that story makes you smile. What comes next won't. The guardian angel, the speed that made jets impressive, made them almost useless for one thing: saving the guy on the ground. When American pilots were shot down over Laos, they didn't need Mach 2. They needed someone who would stay. The Skyraider became Sandy. As one F-105 pilot put it, if a Sandy pilot walked into a bar, he'd never have to pay for a drink. Here is how a Sandy rescue worked. A downed pilot is hiding in the jungle, surrounded by enemy troops. 4 Skyraiders arrive at treetop level. They are flying slow, daring the enemy to shoot. They call it trolling for fire. The second a gun reveals itself, the Spads roll in with 20mm cannons and napalm. They form a daisy chain, a circle of death. As one pulls off, the next is already diving. an unbroken curtain of fire, while a helicopter sneaks in underneath. The enemy learned to use downed pilots as bait. They called it a flak trap. May 31st, 1968. Navy Lieutenant Kenny Fields is shot down. For 40 hours. The U.S. military flew 189 sorties to save 1 man. 7 aircraft lost. 1 Sandy pilot captured. But they didn't stop. They got him out. The mission. William Jones back to the man in the burning cockpit. Lieutenant Colonel William Jones. Sandy A-1 is on his 98th combat mission. He finds the downed pilot near the Ho Chi Minh Trail. He spots a gun position on a ridge and attacks. On the second pass, his aircraft is hit. 1 round slams into the Yankee extraction system, the emergency rocket mounted behind his headrest. The rocket ignites. Inside the cockpit, it doesn't launch. It turns into a blowtorch pointed directly at the pilot's face. Jones pulls the handle. Nothing. The system is destroyed. He blows the canopy, it only feeds the fire. He is trapped, cooking alive. His radios are dead. His skin is bubbling. He turns the plane toward home, 90 miles away. He needs to report those coordinates. That is the only thing that matters. He lands the burning wreck at Nakhon Piachinam as they carry him to the operating table. He gasps out the coordinates. The pilot is rescued. Later that day, Dodd Jones is promoted to colonel. He is awarded the Medal of Honor. He never got to wear it. He was killed in a crash a year later. But he saved the man. Propeller jet with the Skyraider didn't just absorb punishment. It dealt out things that should be impossible. June 20th, 1965. 4 Skyraiders are cruising at 170 knots. Low, vulnerable. Suddenly, two MiG-17 jets appear on their tail. The Skyraiders dove for the deck. The MiGs could do 600 knots. The Skyraider topped out at 320. But the SPAD had a stall speed of 100 miles per hour. It could turn inside a jet. The MiGs kept overshooting, flying past the slow-moving prop planes. Then, the SPADs countered. Lieutenants Johnson and Hartman fired their 20mm cannons simultaneously. They shredded the MiG. The canopy shattered. The jet rolled into a hillside. A propeller plane shot down a jet. It happened again in 1966, when a pilot literally ran out of bullets. So he fired unguided 5-inch rockets at a MiG and blew it out of the sky. Final score, Skyraiders 2. Jets 0. The impossible rescue, and then there was the rescue that broke every rule. March 10th, 1966. Ashao Valley. 2,000 North Vietnamese troops are besieging. 17 Green Berets. The weather is catastrophic. Jets are useless. Major Bernard Fisher is leading 6 Skyraiders. His wingman, Major Wayne Meyer, takes a hit and belly lands on the camp's runway. Meyer jumps out and runs for a ditch, straight into a minefield. He crawls back, bleeding. The helicopter is 30 minutes away. The enemy is 200 yards away. Fisher looks at the cratered, bullet-swept runway and radios 2 words. I'm going in. He lands a Skyraider under fire. He taxis the full length of the runway to Meyer. Meyer sprints through the gunfire, scrambles up the wing, and Fisher grabs him by the collar, dragging him headfirst into the cockpit. Fisher takes off with 19 bullet holes in his plane. He became the first living Air Force Medal of Honor recipient of Vietnam. His quote, 5 words, "When a man is down, you don't leave him there." Over 9 years, USAF Skyraiders flew 90,000 combat sorties. 266 American Skyraiders were lost, 104 pilots killed, and the Pentagon never stopped trying to retire it. A 1965 article wrote, "No aircraft now in production or on the drawing board can replace it. Nevertheless, it is being displaced. They pulled them from carriers for nuclear bombers that were never used. They ran out of Skyraiders during the 1972 Easter Offensive because they had scrapped too many. South Vietnamese pilots flew them until the very last day of the war, April 30th, 1975. One pilot even escaped with 25 people, crammed into the back of his Skyraider. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Bill Sparks, an F-105 pilot rescued by these planes, said it best. The A-1 Skyraider is the second prettiest airplane in the world. The reason it is the second prettiest is that right behind it comes the jolly green helicopter. And if you don't believe it, stand in the jungle and look up. In 2025, the Air Force named its new armed Overwatch plane the A-1 Skyraider 280. Years after Ed Heinemann designed the original, they are still trying to build what he built in 1944. They haven't managed it yet.